Ninjago Dragon's Rising Season 4 Part 1 is out, and there are just so many things that I want to talk about. It's actually impossible to cover everything in just one video. But still I want to share some of my thoughts, because honestly this season surprised me in a very positive way. So yeah, let's get straight into it. First thing I want to talk about is Empress Beatrix. She returns after 2 seasons, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really happy about that at first. I'm not the biggest fan of her character, but the way she was written in this season, it was actually good. She wasn't annoying, not overused like in season 1, she just worked as the main antagonist of part 1. But at the same time, it really feels like this whole part of the season is just building up to something much bigger. And that something is obviously Raz being the main antagonist for the whole season 4, if not for the entirety of Dragon's Rising. But we'll get to Raz later, because that's a whole different level. Now, one of my favorite parts of this season has to be Jay and Nia. I don't usually care about relationships in Ninjago like that, because at the end of the day these are fictional characters, but their dynamic here was actually really good. Jay genuinely wants to remember his forgotten memories, and throughout the first few episodes you can see them getting closer again, supporting each other, going through all of that together, ending up in the administration building trying to recover his memories. And they actually managed to do it, but not instantly, and that's what I loved. It wasn't just boom, his memories are back. It was gradual. He remembers small things, little moments, and sometimes he suddenly laughs or begins to cry or something, and that's what I loved about it. And Kai being there the whole time just made it even better. The way he reacts to Jay and Nia, making jokes, being uncomfortable when they're kissing, that's just pure OG Ninjago energy. This is just nostalgia in its purest form. And now let's talk about the second group, Frag, Sora, Wildfire and Ryu. They end up in a place I like to call the Land of the Rising Sun, because it literally feels like a place where it's always dawn. Everything looks perfect, peaceful, almost too perfect. And that's exactly the problem, it feels like an illusion. Like a place that gives you everything you want, but something is off. This place has to be connected to Raz's master somehow. There's no way it isn't. Dr. Laro literally says she learned about the Weapon of Desolation there. And that same place is where Raz is now, and not just Raz. The Monastery of Monasteries is there, the Shadow Dojo is there. Like, what even is this place? Is it a realm created by Raz's master, something ancient, something that manipulates reality, like maybe a realm between the other ones? We don't know yet, but this is 100% something they're saving for part 2 or maybe for season 5. Now, back to the group itself. Sora and Frag, their development here was actually really solid. At the beginning they don't get along at all, but over time they start understanding each other, and both of them have the same core problem, expectations from their parents. Frag especially, because his father was actually mocking him, not supporting him, making jokes, not taking him seriously at all, and when Frag's father finds out that his own son thought he was one of the loyalists, he begins to realize that he might be wrong. But it's too late. Frag pushes him away, and what makes it hit so hard is the fact that many people can relate to this fact. They can't live up to their parents' expectations, making them often feel worthless. That's not something you fix in just one conversation. Sora's situation is also interesting, especially with her parents returning at the end, but it's a bit different, because her parents were one of the loyalists, even after everything Beatrix has done. I wonder what are they doing at the Monastery of Spinjitzu, but I guess we will find out in part 2. Wildfire, same as always, she's pretty straightforward and that's what we all love about her, and it works. I actually enjoyed her a lot in this season. And Ryu. Brother, Ryu literally almost died. That whole scene where almost all his energy was drained, it was actually pretty hard to watch because we all love that little dragon, but later when he got powered up by the elemental energy from the monster, he got bigger, and I think we all loved that. This little dragon becomes bigger each season, so I wonder if he will actually become one of the Source Dragons, the Source Dragon of Balance, because that's something really interesting. What made it even better was Rontu, because when Rontu was about to die too, we get that insane moment in the Spectral Lands where she meets Eagles. We can see Moro also in the Spectral Lands, and that alone is crazy, because seeing Moro like that, some kind of confirmation that he's still there, that's such a small detail, but it means so much to us fans. And Eagle telling Rontu that she still has a role to fulfill, to train Ryu, literally brings her back. That moment was just perfect for me. Now let's move on to Cole. Because yeah, I made a whole video about him and I expected something, but this, Cole was actually good again, like OG Cole. Him being alone, talking to himself, those monologues, that's literally what people remember him for. And they brought it back. Him infiltrating the Loyalist base, crazy. Him overhearing Dr. LaRoe explaining the weapon of desolation, actually has a meaning later, so yeah, that's not entirely useless. And then the final episodes. Bro was basically fighting an entire army of elemental monsters alone while protecting Imperium. That's exactly what we wanted. That's prime Cole. Now to next group. Lloyd, Arin, Euphrasia and Zane. Zane especially, because he finally feels human again. The way he talks, reacts, interacts, it's not robotic anymore, and I know fans love that. Now, let's move on to Arin and Euphrasia. I really like their dynamic here, and I don't mean romantic, just supportive. Arin actually stepping up, protecting others, being there emotionally for them, that's development for his character. He's not just a new kid anymore. He's actually someone in this group, someone meaningful. And then we have Lloyd. Yeah, we all know he's the main character here, and while I usually don't like how much focus he gets, but this time they did it perfectly. The whole ritual, him facing different versions of himself, the evil version, that wasn't just a fight, that was internal. That was him facing his fears, his doubts, everything. And I wonder what is the meaning behind the last scene of this trial, when the evil version of himself throws him from the hill and he begins falling. Source Dragons say that he didn't complete the ritual in a standard way, but he's someone no ordinary. I believe Source Dragons helped Lloyd leave the trial without actually completing it. This could have further consequences in him having doubts and anxieties, maybe stronger than ever before. But there's also another option. He completed the ritual by understanding every single version of himself and understanding who he really is. However, this doesn't seem likely, as I suppose it's just how every other Green Ninja completed this ritual. But of course, Lloyd has to be special and he unlocks the true potential of his power, connection. That's when things go crazy, because through that power he turns himself into a freaking dragon. It looks like his experiences didn't limit his abilities, but actually made him stronger. And now, the final battle in Imperium. Pure chaos, but in a good way. Once Beatrix enters the city, it turns into a battlefield where ninja fight a whole army of elemental monsters. But of course, in the last moment, Lloyd makes a really great entrance and joins the fight. He battles Beatrix, but she stands no chance against his new form. She begins completely losing control over the weapon of desolation. And you can literally feel it. She's not in control anymore, the weapon is. The monsters get bigger, stronger, and at some point the ninja just can't handle it anymore. I really love the scene where Lloyd remembers the roots in the forest, symbolizing the connection between him and the others. And he uses the power to turn the OG ninja into the Draconus forms. Cole didn't get one, but it's fine as he was literally a rock golem. Then Arin uses the spell to get rid of the elemental monsters, which was actually a really big moment for him, and with Cole's help they managed to turn the fight around. And I'm not even gonna lie, I was watching this like at 2 AM, eating some snacks and just smiling at my phone like an idiot. Like actually smiling. Because this didn't feel like modern Ninjago. This felt like the OG Ninjago. Everyone fighting together, no weird focus, no unnecessary stuff. Just pure Ninjago. And I haven't felt like that in years. Now, Russ. Because yeah, he barely appeared. But somehow, he was still the most important part of this season. That ending, insane. His entrance, Bro's aura farming every time he's on the screen. He gets another Source Dragon icon, this time a bow, and the craziest part, he's in the land of the rising sun, with the monastery with the Shadow Dojo. And I'm almost 100% sure he's using the monastery gates to travel between realms, probably with the help of Master Wu's ghost. Like, think about that, that's insane. Russ is moving entire structures between realms, and we still don't fully understand why and what is this place. But I bet we will in part 2 or maybe in season 5. So yeah, overall, this season was insane. Not perfect, but there's no point in talking about its flaws because it was just amazing. OG Ninja are back, Cole is back, Zane feels human again, the team feels like a team again, and for the first time in a long time, this actually felt like Ninjago. And I just can't wait for part 2, I am just more hyped up than ever. I will see you in the next one.